Welcome back, everybody. Max here with Cat Hunting, and welcome back to my weekly junk silver update. And this is what I got today. So we have two things today, and I think I'm going to do it a little bit differently than usual. I didn't have the biggest purchase today, so I don't think it's actually worth it to pause the video. So we'll all do this in one take. We have two bags here. This is actually the junk silver that I bought today. I went out to my scrap metal dealer and found a pretty decent deal on a bunch of nice junk silver coins, and this one here is a trade that I did last week and wanted to talk about for a little bit. And then on top of that, I will talk a little bit about the silver squeeze slash silver rate day that is going on over there on Wall Street Silver today, and what I think about it. And I hope you guys enjoy the video. Let's start with this trade. So people asked me before if I collect coins, and I would say yes and no. I like silver coins, but I'm not the biggest collector for non-silver coins. But sometimes I come across them, I know a little bit about them, so if I find a deal that is very, very good, I will usually buy those coins and trade them with other coin collectors or my local coin shop. And the other day I came across three really nice Canadian small cents. We had a 1924, a 1923, and a 1925 Canadian small cent. And if you guys know stuff about Canadian small cents, the 1924 and the 1925 are like the real key date Canadian coins in the small cent denomination. So I went ahead and bought them because I got a really, really good deal for them. I spent $25 for the three coins, and I was pretty sure at the point that I buy it that I can get at least $30 for the 25 alone, and something similar also for the 24. So I went ahead and pulled the trigger and went here to my local coin shop. I knew that he has customers for this kind of stuff here in Canada. Those kind of things are still highly collectible, and people are actually actively looking for them. So I went ahead and brought them to my coin shop, and he gave me this for it in the end. So I checked on eBay, and I was confident if I would sell those 3 cents on eBay, I would probably get something around 65 Canadian dollars for them, maybe 70, but then I have to pay fees, do the whole eBay work, and I didn't really feel like it. So I went to the coin shop, and he offered me $2 face US junk silver, which was basically $50, a little bit under that. I think it's $47 scrap today. So that was almost enough for me to pull the trigger because I only paid 25. But in the end, I said, okay, give me a little bit on top. Let me see what else you have in your US coin collection. And I found this beautiful 1871 seated half dime. It's actually an 1871S, which makes it a very low mintage coin. There's only 161,000 minted, and he had this one in his book for $10, and I was like, okay, how about you give me this one? And he had it for a long time, and I was happy to let it go. $10 Canadian for this is already a really good price. Those things are a little bit one of my weaknesses, where I sometimes, if I get a good chance or a good deal, reward myself a little bit and buy those as a collectible item. Of course, you don't find things like this for spot price, because what would be spot on this one? Maybe $1. I would say this coin is worth somewhere in the range between $10 and $20 US at least. So definitely a great deal to do this. I was super happy with this trade because in the end it is almost it's basically like buying silver for half price and getting a nice collectible item on top. So super happy with that deal. That is what I usually do if I find non-silver collectible coins, because they are just not really my cup of tea. And I do this mainly for the silver stacking and take the numismatic value on top of that as a little extra, rather than being mainly a numismatic person that collects this kind of stuff. So those coins are awesome, and I'm super happy to have them. I put them to the side to talk about what I actually bought today. And I don't need to do math on this because I did the math while I was purchasing the coins. As always with that scrap metal dealer, he has basically a bunch of coins, and often for many coins he's trying to get a premium on top, obviously. So he will usually be reluctant to sell me coins that are very new, that he just recently acquired. But if coins have been sitting around for a week or two, he is usually very, very keen to keep those coins rolling, and I can get a good price on that. He always gives me great numbers on US and Canadian junk silver if he has some. So this is basically a mix of the coins that I tried to get a few weeks ago already, where he wasn't ready to let them go for spot yet, and some US and Canadian junk. I paid $117 for this bag, which is exactly the spot enough price. So let's go ahead and pour it out and see what we have. We have a nice mix of things. So let's start with the more common things. So I think we have a total of 4 Franklin half dollars here. Yes, we have a 1950. We also have a 1954. We also have a 1959 with a lot of luster left. And we also have a 1951 over here. And I like picking up the Franklins. He gives me such a good deal on US junk silver, then I usually buy everything he has, and this was the case like that today again. I love the US junk silver. It is one of the best items at the moment, in my opinion, to add weight to your stack. You can still get it for low premiums if you look at the right places, and you can also move it very well if you have to. Those Franklins, I personally really like the design. I love the walking liberties, and this is probably one thing that I do that is pretty irrational in stacking, because I usually prioritize taking walking liberties over Franklin half dollars, even though the wear on Franklin walkers is much more, and they lose a lot more weight than the Franklins and the Kennedys do. So theoretically, Franklins and Kennedys are definitely a better bang for your buck than walking liberties, but I've seen many times that walking liberties actually sell for a little bit more than Franklins and Kennedys, so I actually do not really mind. I prefer the design here, and most of those coins get dealt in face value, but technically you have less silver in walking liberties than you have in Franklin half dollars. That's simply a fact. Then we also have 166 clad 40%er, which is something I really usually don't like to pick up, but this one was a very cheap one, so I definitely wanted it. And we also have one dateless standing Liberty quarter here. Pretty decent coin. I love those things, but very often the dates are worn off and they also lose a lot of weight, so usually the Washington quarters are definitely a bit better bang for your buck. We don't have much Canadian regular stuff here. I think I had a total of 6 Canadian young head dimes. That's those 6 here. Nothing special there. They are basically just Canadian 80% dimes. Common years, all young head, but again, I needed them to sweeten the deal a little bit because I got those actually for a very good price. I don't know why he gave me those ones for too cheap, because they were a little bit under spot, but in the end this evened out because this guy I paid a little bit over spot for, so overall this is exactly spot. Those dimes, nothing special, just the regular Canadian 80% junk that you can get everywhere, and we have 6 here. Still, I like the smaller coins to stack, and I'm a big fan of those Canadian dimes. We have a few more Canadian coins here. We have one sterling half dollar 50 cent 1909 in pretty beat up condition. We also have a 1903 King Edward VII dime here, and we also have one 1907 quarter. As you guys know, I love the older Canadian stuff. If I can find Canadian sterling coins, I usually will pick them up, and this was the case like this today again, and those definitely are junkers. They're in very rough condition, but those coins do not age that well. They have usually a lot of wear, and it's really hard to find very decent copies of those, especially the earlier years. And then we have 3 British coins. I was pretty happy to find this 1935 British 50% crown. I love those chunky silver coins, even though this is just a 50% coin. This is a coin that definitely looks more expensive than it is. This is just a $15 coin basically, or like something like that. And it's very common, but it just has a very nice heavy feel to it, and it looks very chunky. And despite seeing a lot of 50% shillings and florins and sixpence and threepence, I do not come across many of the full crowns. So I'm super happy to pick this one up. This is actually, I think, my first full crown, at least my first more modern full crown. I think I have one from the 1800s. So this is a nice pickup for spot, and I'm happy with it. And then the 2 highlights of the slot definitely are again those very nice, beautiful, antique UK silver coins. I mean, just the design on this one, I'm absolutely in love with it. It's really hard to see the date through the camera, but it is visible. Don't know if you can see it. It's gonna be hard. But this one is an 1836 half crown, sterling silver with George IV on there. And this one is a beautiful coin. I got a similar half crown last week that was even a little bit older and in much better condition. This one here I paid $20 for, which is $5 over spot roughly. I think they're around $15 spot. And nevertheless, I am happy doing that because I could basically compensate this $5 extra that I paid here, because I paid $5 not enough for the dimes, and he also charged me Canadian 80% price on those sterling silver coins, which is something that he usually does, and it's amazing for me. So overall this evened out. I gained my $5 back in the same transaction, finding something else that's a little bit under spot. So I'm very, very happy. I love those old coins. I'm a huge fan and I will pick them up if I can. And then we also have this beautiful 1844 pence very early Victorian coin. This one is definitely a highly collectible coin. It's one of the first Victorian years, and I got it for spot price, which is kind of a joke because this is a tiny coin. We're talking about maybe $1.50 that I paid. I probably would get somewhere around between $10 and $20 on eBay for this coin, so this was a great pickup, but this is the kind of stuff I keep and I don't really let go. Beautiful coin, 4 pence pieces, 1840 early Victorian. Overall a great transaction. And also because today was May Silver Day, so Silver Rate Day, May Day, whatever you guys want to call it, there is a lot of activity on Reddit, and I went to my local coin shop today just to get a feeling what is going on and if they are experiencing a lot of traffic, and they actually did. I was kind of surprised because last time when we had the last silver squeeze going on, the coin shop did not have the crazy activity that I heard from other people online. I think this movement might be bigger in the US than in other places. But it is very, very interesting to me because on the one hand, I'm absolutely in agreement that silver is still undervalued. But then also, if you look at the Wall Street Silver thread and read a little bit through it, you have to be really, really, really careful, because I think there's a lot of people that just shoot over the goal a lot, and you see a lot of posts like silver will go up to $100, silver will go up to $5,000. You will see a lot of comparisons to the US debt clock and all of those kind of crazy suggestions that silver is shooting to the moon. And I find that pretty dangerous because it encourages people to basically ramp up the premiums, because that's what mainly is happening right now. The premiums are absolutely crazy. It's basically impossible to buy bullion right now. I went to my local coin shop, which usually has very, very good prices, and they charge $40 per maple, which is almost $9 over spot. And I personally do not understand the obsession with bullion. Because it really seems to me that people are so fixated on getting bullion products that they do not care that you can actually get silver for much, much cheaper than that. So please don't fall for this trap, especially if you are new. Like, in my opinion, it is very difficult to buy bullion right now because the demand is absolutely crazy high. So the mints can basically not catch up with the demand for the smaller products, which will lead to higher premiums. I do not believe that there's actually a physical silver shortage just yet. I believe that if the silver squeeze continues for a few more months and we will continue seeing the crazy investor demand that we had for the last few months, or basically since the pandemic started, that we will slowly maybe see a shift. But I am absolutely not one of the people that support any theories that silver will skyrocket or go up $100. I could see a similar move on Monday, when the markets open, that we saw with the last silver squeeze, that we see some kind of semi-significant spike and see silver going up $1 or $2, but see then basically a flattening of the curve again, because overall I believe, apart from Wall Street Silver and higher silver investment demand, I do not really see the market being so well positioned for silver right now, at least for silver as a industrial and a large scale investment item. And large scale investment, I mean fonds and banks and stuff investing, and not the regular people that buy small amount of bullion. I still believe that Bitcoin is very, very bad for the gold price, which indirectly is very, very bad for the silver price. We also have not seen enough recovery of the economy and not seen any infrastructural programs or government investment programs leading to a higher industrial demand. So I honestly do not see the perfect storm yet for silver being able to get a sustainable gain, or at least a sustainable significant gain. But again, as I repeated myself in the last videos, I believe that we will have a chance to see that towards the end of the year, if we see a little bit more recovery of the economy, and we also will see a little bit more investment demand, and at least continuous investment demand as it is. And then the last thing that could be very significant for silver is that I think we will see some form of government activity against Bitcoin, not directly against it, but I do not think that the governments will accept Bitcoin becoming an actual currency and not a storage of wealth. They will definitely start regulating that, and as soon as there's any regulation or like a transaction fee or something like this on Bitcoin, you will see a lot of investment pulling out of Bitcoin and going towards gold and silver as an alternative storage of value. I think overall Bitcoin is what holds gold back right now. I think a lot of and silver indirectly too, because as much silver is an industrial metal, it still rises and falls with gold quite a lot. But we see a lot of money that would traditionally flow into gold and silver in times like these that flows into Bitcoin and an artificially strengthened stock market, or like let's call it a no-risk environment stock market where people know they're backed up by the governments. But this is all short-term gains, and that's why I am not such a big believer in those kind of things. For me, that is more gambling, and I'm a big believer in silver long-term. So honestly, I believe the time that silver will start to do a big move, let's say go towards the $100 range, is still 10 years away. I do not believe that silver will double in price anytime soon. I can see a little bit of a gain, but I do not think that those crazy scenarios that you see in those kind of Reddit forums is actually realistic. And I also believe that a lot of people that post their purchases on Reddit and show what kind of silver they buy and how much they pay for it, I don't think that those people really make good decisions, because I see people buying from SD Bullion, from AppMax even, and those kind of places just have sky high prices. If you do a little bit of more work, you can definitely get your silver cheaper, and this is just basically blindly jumping on the hype and starting your investment with a minus 25% start, because that is what you have to consider. The price of silver is spot. The price of silver is not spot plus premiums, and you will most likely, when times are normal again, not recoup the premiums you're paying. So if you're buying silver maples for 40 Canadian right now, you are paying 30% almost over spot, and that is a problem, because it will be a long time until you even... Yeah, so if you're paying $40 Canadian for maples or other 1 ounce coins right now, you're paying 30% over spot, and it will be a very, very long time until you just like break even to recoup those premiums, because this is not what you will get when you actually sell those coins, especially when times and demand normalizes again. So I would be very, very careful and think a little bit outside of the box and try to find better avenues to buy your silver and get it as cheap as possible. And for me personally, the solution right now is to prioritize junk silver, at least here in Canada, and if you deal with local coin shops, over bullion products, because the premiums are just so much more affordable. If I walk to my local coin shop here and to the other local coin shop that is also here pretty close to me, I can get basically as much Canadian junk silver as I want, and also US junk silver as I want for spot, no premiums. And with the people I talk to, it's very similar here in other coin shops in other areas in Canada. So personally, I think that silver bullion is just extremely hyped right now, and the premiums are, of course, partially, there is a little bit of a supply shortage, but it is not a silver shortage, and we're talking mainly about incredible demand for those products. So obviously, you have to all make your own decisions if you're investing into silver. and I am the last person that will tell people not to buy something, and I always support people making their own decisions, but I personally do not feel comfortable to pay those premiums. I do not like to start my investments in the negative like this, so I stick to the junk silver and the cheap bullion that I can find if I find it. Nevertheless, that's enough for today, guys. I talked quite a long time and my video died there just before the end, which was a bit frustrating, but we got past that. I hope you still enjoyed the video. My favorite coins of the day are definitely this 1871 as half dime and also the 1836 British half crown here. Also love the 4-pence piece. As you guys know, I love the old coins. If you liked the video, guys, please consider subscribing if you have not yet, and also please hit the like button if you can. That would help me out a lot. I will see you guys next week, or if I find anything else that is worth presenting to you guys. And have a good one and enjoy the silver squeeze.